Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 science fiction film Chaos Walking, a film that is directed by Doug Liman and it stars Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, Mads Mikkelsen and Nick Jonas. Now this is one of those films that has garnered a reputation, I think it's fair to say, before its release. My understanding is it was due for release in 2019 and due to postponements, reshoots, things like that, it's been delayed a couple of times at least until its final release just recently. And because of that, any film, generally speaking, that goes through this process, you get all the whispers and stuff that it's a terrible film. So needless to say, I think many were expecting this film to be terrible, and probably some are reporting it as being so, maybe even without even seeing it. And what is this film about? Well, this film is based on a trilogy of books, I think, that I haven't read, and it focuses on this planet far away. Humans try to resettle some years previously, and Tom Holland lives on this planet, and it seems to be only occupied by men, and there is something called the noise, which essentially is anything you think, any of your inner thoughts are visible for everyone to see, so there are no secrets at all, basically. So they live in this community, they try and do all the things they're supposed to be doing in this community, you know, living a very simple life, and then Daisy Ridley's character, Viola, crash lands on the planet. She's part of this second wave of humanity that's coming to this planet to, you know, set up home, set up base sort of thing. Mads Mikkelsen plays the mayor of this community, who is very, very keen to find out more information from Daisy Ridley's character Viola about this new spaceship that is coming, and he may well have his own agenda, which forces Todd and Viola, Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley, to go on the run to keep safe and move across this world to try and avoid detection. Right. What are my thoughts on Chaos Walking? Well, this is actually alright, if I'm being honest. It ain't perfect. There are problems with this film in the sense of there's a serious lack of conflict and drama in this film, I think. I think that's fairly reasonable of me to say. It's lacking any real tangible tension, and if it wasn't for Tom Holland, this film I think would be you know, almost dead in the water. Tom Holland, I think, elevates this film. He's got such a likable presence on screen. The screen loves him, and he really does drive this film forward. It's quite a physical role. He handles that side of it as well. I have my doubts for Tom Holland to be cast in the Uncharted films as Nathan Drake, but after seeing him in this, I can almost visualise it now. I think he might be able to pull it off. Now, Daisy Ridley. Well, I had no issue with Daisy Ridley in the Star Wars films. I know many people do. But she's fairly... well, she's uncharismatic, I think, is the fairest assessment of her presence in this film. She doesn't really offer a lot. She doesn't say a lot. And she's supposed to be there as this connection for Tom Holland's character Todd, who's never seen a woman before until she arrives, and there's supposed to be this chemistry and spark between them that's just never there, despite Tom Holland's best efforts. So I mean, not that I don't think she's bad in the film. I'm not critiquing her acting performance. It just, the character didn't work. It needed something else, another layer adding to it. I think Daisy Ridley's character, she was a bit nondescript. Mads Mikkelsen was playing his usual villainous role, I suppose. He's fine. We've got David Oyelowo, who plays like a preacher. who's not a very good preacher. And the film does kind of uncover, I mean, we are told early on by Mads Mikkelsen's character that, you know, the reason why there's no women when they settled on this planet is that there were these indigenous species, these creatures that stormed their village and killed all the women because they didn't have the noise. And as the film progresses, we learn the truth about that, which isn't really a surprise. That's again another problem with the film. It's not really full of surprises. And these indigenous species, and the name of them escaped me, we only see them once, and even then it didn't need... If that's all they were going to do with this species, they didn't need to be in the film. I think they could have done more with those species. There's another camp that they discover as well that they end up staying at briefly, Todd and Viola, and then they're off again. And again, I was expecting to see more conflict from this visit to this new settlement almost, and it's almost like, you know, we never got any kind of conclusion there. It just felt like there were bits of the film that they didn't tie off well enough. You know, what happened to that settlement? It looked like there was going to be some conflict, and then boom, poof, they were gone. And then Mads Mikkelsen moved on. So it was a very watchable film, and I did like the premise of this noise thing, you know, where you could see people's thoughts and things like that. Initially it was quite annoying, but you got used to it and it got quite intrigued by it. And it is certainly very, very watchable, a fairly interesting idea, and Doug Liman's a very, very good director, a very reliable director, and he handles it all particularly well. You just get the impression, I think it could have been cranked up a bit more. Crank up the drama, crank up the action, crank up the tension. Just give us a little bit more, and I think we could have got a little bit more out of this film. But saying that, you know, I was entertained by it, and I did think it was quite nicely done. So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. It's certainly not a bad film, and anybody that's reporting that it's an atrociously bad film or anything, it really isn't. You know, it's certainly one of those films that you might want to rent on Amazon Prime, and, you know, I don't think you'll hate it or anything like that. There's some decent performances in it, certainly by Tom Holland, Mads Mikkelsen, people like that. But ultimately, it's not one of these films that you're going to be, you know, harping on about for months to come. It's one of those you'll watch, put to one side, not really care less about it, but it's watchable nonetheless. So that's my review for Chaos Walking. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will be back with more reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.